coming in. The Prime Minister has written a letter to the citizens of the country on the occasion of Diwali. So this is the Prime Minister penning his own thoughts. He's addressed this letter to citizens of the country. He says, I extend my heartfelt greetings to all of you on the auspicious occasion of Deepavali, a festival filled with energy and enthusiasm. Then he speaks of the second Deepavali, how this is the second Deepavali after the grand construction of Ram Temple in Ayodhya, teachings of Lord Sri Ram. He also then went on to mention Operation Sindoor and how India not only upheld righteousness but also avenged injustice. This Deepavali, the Prime Minister says, is particularly special because for the first time lamps will be lit in many districts across the country, including remote areas. And then went on to talk about what we've heard from the Prime Minister very recently, that these are districts where Naxalism and Maoist terrorism have been eradicated from the root. He says in the recent times, we've seen many individuals abandon the path of violence and join mainstream of development. So there you have the broader vision being highlighted by the Prime Minister in this letter to the citizens. Then he went on to, of course, talk about the other historic achievements that coincide with the festivities across the country, which is the next generation reforms that have been announced by the central government, the GST Bachat Utsav, the savings festivals, which are being spoken of by several union ministers the last few days. Remember, going across to CNN News 18's Aman Sharma, who joins us with more details. Aman, I believe you do have that entire letter with you. Take us through the key excerpts and what really is the big message coming in this Deepavali.
Well, yes, Kritsween, the Prime Minister has written a letter to countrymen on the occasion of Diwali. This is in the same vein as what the Prime Minister spoke yesterday from INS Vikrant. I have a copy of the letter here with me, where the Prime Minister is saying, Dear fellow citizens, I extend my heartfelt greetings to all of you on the auspicious occasion of Deepavali. This is the second Deepavali after the grand construction of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. So very important line there by the Prime Minister. He's also saying that Lord Ram teaches us to uphold righteousness and also gives us to courage to fight injustice. We have seen a living example of this a few months ago during Operation Sindoor, when during Operation Sindoor, Bharat not only upheld righteousness but also avenged injustice. So the Prime Minister is saying how Lord Ram fought against injustice. It is the Indian armed forces which fought against the injustice of terrorism, and that is how we avenged what happened in Pahalgam through Operation Sindoor. He also mentioning about the eradication of Naxalite Maoist terrorism from the country, saying this Deepavali is particularly special because for the first time, lamps have been lit in many districts across the country, including remote areas. And these are the districts where Naxalism and Maoist terrorism has been eradicated. And he's saying that in recent times, we have seen many individuals abandoning the path of violence, of left-wing extremism, joining the mainstream. This is a major achievement for the nation. So the PM dwelling in how the number of Naxal-affected districts have reduced from 125 in 2014 to just about 11 as we speak today. The Prime Minister also speaking about the next generation reforms which he announced from the Red Fort and the GST Bachat Utsav, in which he has said citizens are saving thousands of crores of rupees. Also saying Bharat is emerging as a symbol of both stability and sensitivity. We are on track to become the third largest economy in the world in the near future. The Prime Minister also stressing upon his message of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Viksit Bharat, saying that let us adopt Swadeshi and proudly say this is Swadeshi. Let us promote the spirit of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat, and that is the way ahead for Viksit Bharat. The Prime Minister dwelling on all these points. As I said, he was dwelling on all these points yesterday also in his address from the INS Vikrant, where he spoke to the naval personnel. The Prime Minister saying Operation Sindoor is avenging injustice and the Naxalism eradication from a majority of the districts in the country. Just about 11 districts left now where left-wing extremism has some impact, calling it a major achievement for the nation, the GST Bachat Utsav, and of course his favorite topic in the last few months, stressing on Indians to adopt Swadeshi.
Oh yes, absolutely. And if you actually try and sum it up, Aman, it's very clear that all of what we've heard in 2025 and perhaps the last 3-4 years is something that's been summed up in this letter that he's addressed to the countrymen, from economy, self-reliance, health, anti-terrorism, all of that stands covered in this message that he sent to the countrymen. But how much of it, remember, or how much of it, Aman, is something which is being echoed, reiterated, and perhaps now re-emphasized by the Prime Minister on what he said when he interacted with Navy personnel yesterday?
Well, Kritsween, yes, I think yesterday was a very, very important address. You know, the Prime Minister saying that during Operation Sindoor, we saw perfect coordination between all the three forces, the army, the air force and the navy. And this is what led to Pakistan completely surrendering at one point of time during Operation Sindoor. And, the ceasefire was achieved soon after because Pakistan pleaded for the same. And I think PM also using this occasion, Kritzwin, of not only speaking about Operation Sindoor, but also speaking in the same vein about the eradication of Naxalism from the country. In a way, putting the same on the same pedestal, saying that both the achievements are equally big because Naxalism has been described earlier as one of the biggest internal security challenges facing India. When PM Modi took over as the Prime Minister, there were about 125 districts being affected by the left-wing extremism. It is down to 11 right now. And the Prime Minister said even out of these 11, there are only 3 districts which are worse Naxal affected, and the government is well on course to make the country completely Naxal free by March 2026. A big role of that also in that being played by the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, who's leading these security forces onto this big challenge, a problem that has plagued India since independence. And now the country finally will be rid of this scourge of left-wing extremism in another few months.
In fact, he gave a number also. In his address yesterday, he spoke of how of the 11 districts, only 3 remain under Maoist influence. And then he went on to link it to what we've seen in the letter to Aman, which is GST Bachat Utsav. He spoke of how these regions, which were once heavily influenced by Naxals and Maoist terror, are also reaping the benefits of these big-ticket announcements.
Well, absolutely, Kritzwin. I know millions of people who have been living in these, 100-odd districts which have been freed from the influence of Naxalism. The Prime Minister said this is a big Diwali for them because they can now live with happiness, live in peace. They have better opportunities. Naxals did not allow roads, schools, colleges, universities, hospitals to come up in these areas. All these fruits of development are now reaching the people of these erstwhile Naxal-affected regions. Over nearly 110, 115 districts being freed of Naxal influence is a big, big deal. And the Prime Minister stressing upon it, not only in his address yesterday, but today also in this letter. I will point out to the specific point in this letter where he speaks about the CM and he says this Deepavali is particularly special because for the first time, lamps will be lit in many districts across the country. And these are districts where Naxalism and Maoist terrorism have been eradicated from the root. The Prime Minister also writing to countrymen that in recent times we have seen many individuals abandoning the path of violence, joining the mainstream of development, expressing faith in the constitution of our country. And this is a major, major achievement for the nation. Going on to mention about the GST Bachat Utsav, where citizens have saved thousands of crores of rupees. And these are benefits which have gone to all the citizens of the country. The Prime Minister is emphasizing in this letter to the people of the country.
Aman, can you scroll up a little and take us to the portion where he's actually speaking of how we're on track to become the 3rd largest economy, and then he's linked it to being Viksit and the idea of self-reliant India, because that takes us back to the story not too long ago when Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh was also inaugurating the 3rd production line of LCA Mark 1A. All in all, if you see these announcements, these initiatives being undertaken by the government, all point to how the government is increasingly focusing on being Atmanirbhar and self-reliant in each of these areas, not just defense, but overall.
Yes, absolutely, Kritzwin. And the Prime Minister has remarked that the country has embarked on next generation reforms in recent days. He said in a world going through multiple crises, Bharat has emerged as a symbol of both stability and sensitivity. We are also on track to become the 3rd largest economy in the world in the near future. India registering high growth figures. All these agencies, be it S&P or the others, upgrading India's ratings. And India is the fastest growing economy right now in the world. Other countries are growing much, much slower after COVID. The Prime Minister saying in this journey of Viksit and Atmanirbhar Bharat, our primary responsibility as citizens is to fulfill our duties towards the nation. Let us adopt Swadeshi. Let us proudly say, this is Swadeshi. Let us promote the spirit of Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat. Let us respect all languages. Let us respect cleanliness. Let us prioritize our health. Let us reduce the use of oil in our food by 10%. Embrace yoga. All these efforts will rapidly move us towards Viksit Bharat.
Many thanks, Aman, for breaking down that story in its entirety for us. We headed to a very quick break with that. We'll be right back with the latest on the other side of a very quick break. Stay tuned.